Today I worked on the login flow and on the payment flow. A lot of people ask me, which payment provider would you use? Paddle, WOP, or Stripe? To answer that, you have to specify if you would like to do this business as an LLC, a holding, or as a private person. To start off, nobody wants to pay money to create a LLC, for example, in the US, in Miami, or if you are located in Europe, I would choose Estonia because they have the best circumstances for an online business as a company. And regarding the best online business locations, I would definitely go with a holding in Switzerland, in Canton Zug, but that is more expensive because you have to rent or buy a house or a flat there, which is of course not for free. And then you have to do all the bureaucratic stuff that is connected to create a holding in Switzerland. But to have the highest prestige internationally, I would definitely go with a Swiss holding or company. Or if you are younger and you would like to meet like-minded people who are concentrating and focusing on building businesses, I would definitely choose United Arab Emirates, because in Dubai you have a lot of young entrepreneurs who are focusing on building businesses online, and of course there you have the best circumstances for taxations. But the caveat is there that you have to move there, which means you have to have a flat there or you have to rent a flat there, so it's not for free either. But you can create LLCs, companies later. You can choose in which country you would like to do this after you have enough cash flow to create it. Before that, I would start off as a private person in your own country where you're located in. You can slowly build up your income flows, and after that, you can create the LLCs, or you can optimize your location to have the best circumstances for taxation. That's why a lot of people ask me, how would you start collecting payments for different customers? In the online world, I would definitely go with WOP or Paddle. Why? Because these companies do the taxations for you. You just get payment onto your bank account, and then you can just pay the taxes for your personal income tax. If you're using these payment providers, you do not have to worry about localized taxations. For example, if you have customers in Europe or in the US or in Japan or in the UAE, doesn't matter. It does it for you. WOP and Paddle can handle taxes and VATs in the different countries. They have everything for that. They have the team for that, but they do it for a fee. They charge about 25 or 30% per transaction for their services. So at the end of the day, you get the payment in your bank account and you just pay the income tax, personalized income tax in your country where you're located in. And slowly, if you have built up a cash flow, you can start thinking about optimizing this part of your business. So you can go create LLCs, companies, whatever you want. And then I would definitely go with Stripe, because Stripe does the payments for OpenAI and for the big companies. And in my opinion, Stripe is the most advanced technology for collecting payments. They have a lot of churn controlling there. So if people forget to update their cards, they send the email. They have everything inside. And if you want to get a pro tip, I would use project.dev because it's connected to the Stripe services. You have a very nice client to do the payments, to do the emails, to do a lot of stuff, prompt visions, and so on and so forth. Why? Because as an online business, you have to focus on the payments, the login flow, forgotten emails, forgotten passwords, and the subscription specified tier allowances to the different contents that you are providing on your website. So to that, I would use project.dev. That's why I put a lot of effort into the login flow and into the payment flow, which means I created a Stripe profile where I created a so-called sandbox. It means I can test payments and webhooks from Stripe on my website. To that, I talked to Claude Code and I told Claude Code that I have everything on my GitHub. I can merge these settings from the online business that I already have, and I merged every setting but in an international level. So in Wigner Capital, I have a lot of languages. And the sign up and sign in flow has to be flawless. I need to have a different database for the customers. I use to that Firebase or MongoDB, where I store the user data, and I can connect them to these products that I created on my website. I have a Pro, a Premium, and a Lite version of these products. So there is a monthly subscription, a yearly subscription, and then other monthly subscription, which have different subscription IDs. And these subscription IDs decide what kind of access do these customers have. So the most important thing was to create the sign-in flow, where I chose a different database like Google Firebase to store the subscriber data and the user data. And from there, I have a subscription ID specified access tier logic. That means if a subscriber uses Apple Pay, Google Pay with a different email address, the system doesn't mix it up. Because a lot of times, from my experience, I had the problems that one subscriber used a other email address to create an account, but for their payment, they used Google Pay or Apple Pay, which means they had an iCloud or a different kind of email address, and the system couldn't pair the subscription to the user login data, which led to the following problem. They created an account on my website. Then after a few days, they created the payment for a subscription where they used Google Pay or Apple Pay for their payment. And what happened? They did not see the content on my website and on my app, which meant I got a lot of email complaints that first of all causes a lot of support problems, and it ruins your reputation, and the customer churns because the customer paid for something but didn't get anything. So the first impression is out the window. So you have to definitely make sure that the login flow, the payment flow, and the connection flow between the subscription ID and the access tier is flawless. That is why I worked hours and hours on this, seemingly not so complicated task, but this is the make it or break it point if you want to keep customers after your sign up and login flow is working flawlessly. As a takeaway, I cannot emphasize it enough. Create the best login and sign up experience for the customer, and you make sure that the payment that they can choose includes Apple and Google Pay, and the system can connect the accounts through subscription IDs. That is why I recommend to talk to ChatGPT and Claude about the most common mistakes and problems that subscription services have, so Claude Code can plan the best architecture for your specific product. That is why I chose Google Firebase to store sign-up data, and I chose Stripe to have these different subscriptions. And there is a Cron that is checking subscription IDs, and if there is a profile that has a specified subscription ID, it connects the dots and it connects the profile with the access tier, so the customer can see the content in your website or app. So that's my key takeaway. Put a lot of effort into creating the best sign up and login flows. Choose your preferred payment engine. As a private person, I would choose WOP or Paddle. And if you do have an LLC or a company, I would definitely go with Stripe. I gave you my experiences after having an online business localized in my country. What kind of problems did I have? What kind of mistakes people make if they log in and sign up to your website. So you have to create a system that excludes all the possibilities for customers to make mistakes, because not the customers are fault. You are fault because your system has to be bulletproof. So in order to scale up into an international level, these mistakes should be avoided. And I hope I could help you with this video. If yes, then please leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on X on Levi Builds Stuff. See you in the next one.